Family, good morning. It is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. This is Wake Up Bama for Wednesday, December 3rd. And today is early National Signing Day. So what to expect today, starting at 8 a.m. Central Time. I will be live all the way through about 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, covering all the news and all the signees from the class of 2026. Okay, so starting at 8 a.m. all the way through 1 p.m. And by the way, my 10 a.m. show will be at its normal time, 10 a.m., okay? And that'll be a call-in show. So just a heads up. The college football playoff rankings have been released. I'll go full screen for you. Here's a look at the updated college football bracket, in case you somehow missed it. Ohio State at number 1. Number 2 is Indiana. Number 3 is Georgia. Number 4, Texas Tech. Number 5 is Oregon. Number 6 is Ole Miss. Number 7 is Texas A&M after losing to Texas. Number 8 is Oklahoma. Number 9 is Alabama, moving up one spot, jumping Notre Dame, who's at 10. 11 is an open spot for a conference champ, as is spot number 12. So I started thinking about this, and I was looking at the bracket. Give me some feedback inside the comment box. Who are the winners and the losers of the latest college football playoff rankings? And right away, I think one of the winners is surprisingly Alabama, right? We have criticized the playoff committee a lot. And, Alabama, look, they were rewarded for winning because we know that what? Winning cures all, right? Alabama jumped Notre Dame to move to number 9. Why? Well, in explaining why Alabama moved one spot above Notre Dame, Hunter Yurachek, the playoff committee chair, said that win recently over Auburn, there was a lot of committee members that felt, hey, that's a solid win on the road. Therefore, they move up a spot over Notre Dame. Hunter Yurachek continued to say this about Alabama. They're in a really solid position this week at number 9. They have an opportunity in their conference championship to give us another data point. That's what Yurachek had to say. And I think when you look at data point, that's a win or a loss. And how did you play in that game? And I think Alabama, they will make the playoffs regardless depending on how they play that game. I think that's what that tells me, right? I feel that number 9, if they play in the toughest conference championship in the country and that game is tight, there's no way that they are missing out if they were to lose, right? I think a 10-3 team that plays a very competitive game against a really good Georgia team, I don't think Alabama would be penalized. Now, if Georgia runs through Alabama 35-10 or something like that, I think that they would be punished. That would be another late-end data point. And honestly, if they get blown out in the SEC championship game, I think we have to come to a realization and accept the fact that this isn't a playoff team. But as I've been saying, I have confidence in Alabama beating Georgia. And there's just no way that I see them getting ran out of the building at Mercedes Stadium on Saturday. You agree with me? Sound off inside the comment box. So good news for Alabama. I list them as one of the winners in the latest college football playoff rankings. Let's talk about another team that I felt maybe managed a W in the latest brackets, and that's Ole Miss. I think considering what Ole Miss went through, right, all the drama with Lane Kiffin, them getting a new head football coach over the weekend, would they be penalized? And I asked that because the college football rankings principle, the guide that we go over, it says that they can look at coaches or players not being on that team, and will that impact their future play? I think it would, but the committee, they didn't punish them. So that works out for a team like Ole Miss, who finishes the season 11-1 and now will enter the playoffs, definitely having a home game and a new head football coach in Pete Golding. How do you feel about that? Let me know inside the comment box. I have Notre Dame as a winner and a loser. Let me explain. Notre Dame, they're still in the conference champion. They're still in the college football playoff bracket, rather, despite having a loss to Miami. And Miami's a bubble team, okay? So they are continuing to be rewarded for their late season play. But what's interesting is Miami is 1-0 against top 25 teams, whereas Notre Dame is 1-2. The strength of schedule for Notre Dame is 42, and the strength of schedule for Miami is 44. So those metrics are pretty close. Don't you go to the next metric or wherever that metric is, and it's like head-to-head on the field? Miami beat Notre Dame head-to-head. So Notre Dame's still winning because they're still in this bracket with the same record. On the flip side, who's a loser? Well, Notre Dame. They dropped a spot, okay? And maybe the playoff committee is starting to look under the hood a little bit, right? And what's going to happen in the final moments? Do you think all of a sudden Miami just jumps them? I don't think so. I mean, they would have already jumped them because what metrics have been changing, right? But I think if BYU wins the Big 12 championship game, and I've been talking to you about that, I don't think that'll happen, but I think if they do, they will kick out Notre Dame. And I think that Miami's going to be on the outside looking in regardless. And I think Miami probably be this year's team to, sue the playoff committee, right? Them, Vanderbilt, or Texas. I could see all those teams raising Cain because they didn't make it. Remember Florida State? They got the attorney general out a couple years ago. That was crazy. Another loser in these rankings, I feel, is Texas A&M. But, hey, don't lose late. They lost to Texas, and they dropped from, what were they, the number 3 spot to number 7. So 4 spots. Now, the good news for Aggie fans is they are still going to host a playoff game regardless. I don't think that this team all of a sudden goes from 7 to 9 where they'd be on the road. Worst case, they go to 8. They'd still be hosting, right? The bad news, if you're 8, you're more than likely going on the, or at least in the quarterfinals, playing Ohio State, which, I mean, clearly they look like a buzzsaw. The last 2 spots, as you can see on this graphic, are held for conference champs. Now, we pretty much we're close to 3 conference champs, which is pretty easy for us to navigate, right? Like Texas Tech or BYU, Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State or Indiana. But these other conference champions, we gotta take two more. So it's down to Virginia or Duke. Now, if Duke wins that game, they're not going to the tournament, right? Because it has to be the highest ranked from the conference champs. You see what I'm saying? So theoretically, you could have these last 2 spots being Tulane and James Madison. And that's if Duke somehow beats Virginia. By the way, I think that line is only like 2.5. That would be crazy, right? Because I think if you really want the best 12 teams in, are Tulane and James Madison and even Virginia, are those some of the best 12 teams in the country? I would argue that Vanderbilt would put it on each of those teams. Like, it wouldn't be close. Those are the rules that we have. Lastly, Juracek said he was asked about on the conference call if teams could, outside of the current projected field, could move into the field without playing this weekend. He said that idle teams can move up. And the final thought from Juracek is essentially he was talking about, saying the committee will have to re-rank the teams entirely after the conference championship games. Okay. And the last thing he said about Alabama was how far can Alabama move up or down from the SEC championship game results? And he said that's impossible for him to answer until they play. All right. So that's where the college football playoff stands. Alabama moves up. That's kind of the biggest storyline going into Wednesday. Let's talk a little bit, some miscellaneous college football news. There's something that I need to address real quick, and I made a video about this, and it got pretty good play, but I saw this circulating, and I do want to address it. It's with Ryan Williams. There's a fake account, 274, not 247 Sports. It's a parody account, fake account, said Ryan Williams was leaving Alabama, that he inked a $2 million deal with LSU. That is not true. That is fake news. There are parody accounts. They do a really good job of emulating real sites, and I get it. There's times that I have been faked out by fake news. So it's always good to verify the actual site or your college football analyst to make sure that they are saying the same stuff. But in terms of like Ryan Williams leaving, no, he's not. I get it. The guy's not having the season that we thought he was. Last game, 0 targets, 0 catches. Those are red flags. But Alabama wide receiver Jeremy Bernard, teammate of him on Ryan Williams, said, look, he has a great mindset. He knows how important he is to this team, how valuable he is. We just got to be able to put him in positions to win. We will. He will. He's not tripping. He's the same guy. It's been pretty polarizing, right? Watching Ryan Williams, and you see a player, and I was thinking about this, the last 2 players that Alabama football has seemed to go like all in on, it really hasn't ended that well. Maybe because that's the expectations or the notoriety that these players are getting. So, like, for example, last year, Jalen Milroe, right? Alabama went all in, started selling all the Lang stuff, and then as he started performing poorly, it got really weird, right? And kind of the same stuff with Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams has been pushed out so much by the university. He's on billboards, and he's not doing anything. So I think those are two good studies for kind of where we're at in name, image, and likeness, right? I think we have to be careful, or company and brands have to be careful. Is like, do we go all in with the player because of the season they had? Because look at what's happened to Ryan Williams. Look at what happened to Jalen Milroe, right? Interesting. But most importantly, Ryan Williams is not transferring or hasn't signed a deal with LSU. BYU head football coach Kalani Sitake was being targeted by Penn State. Okay, seems like Penn State has targeted every coach, and every coach has signed somewhere else or has been retained, right? I know they went after Eli Drinkwitz. He got signed. They go after Kalani Sitake. He got signed. He's done a good job at BYU, clearly, right? 11-1 right now. They're absolutely balling out. They play in the Big 12 championship game. With that said, what does Penn State do? They haven't had a football coach since October. And I know what you're thinking out there is like, are they really going after Coach Kalen DeBoer? Why hasn't Coach Kalen DeBoer addressed it? Because Kalen DeBoer is focused on delivering a top-end recruiting team, because Kalen DeBoer is busy preparing for the SEC championship game, because Kalen DeBoer is dealing with things that are real. Things that are real, right? He's not in a fake world. Now, if they lose to Auburn, we started to talk about that stuff, but that's how big that game was. I think that's why Lane Kiffin even waited into the next day, because I promise you, do you agree with me? I honestly think that Lane Kiffin was waiting to see the outcome of Alabama-Auburn. That's what I think inside my heart. Maybe I'm wrong. That's just what I feel, because I do feel that if Alabama would have lost that game, it would have been complete chaos over the next 48 hours. I really do. Texas Tech also extended their head football coach's contract for 7 years. Joey McGuire, he has Tech rolling right 11-1, Big 12 play. Those guys have been doing a great job down in Lubbock. Lubbock currently a top 4 team in the playoffs. Isn't that crazy? I got family out in Lubbock. Anybody ever been to Lubbock? Stripes. You ever been to Stripes gas station? One thing I love about Stripes is they have like a burrito bar in every single gas station. So you can get you can line up your burrito as you're filling up gas. And it's kind of like a West Texas, New Mexico type thing. All right. Couple pieces of recruiting news as it is early signing day. And this is how the program will work today right here on Bama Football on YouTube, 8 to 1 p.m. I'll be covering college football recruiting all day long, okay? But a couple pieces of individual news. The biggest news was national news is that the number 1 quarterback in the country, Jared Curtis, who's out of Nashville, 6'3", 225, 5-star, 5-star plus. He's like the top guy. He was committed to Georgia. He flipped his commitment the day before signing day to Vanderbilt, okay? Diego Pavia was saying that Vanderbilt has tons of cash. This is a big one. Georgia fans, I can't even imagine how they're feeling. A couple years, last season they lost Dylan Raiola, who was a 5-star. Now they lose Jared Curtis. And I really feel with Georgia football, the one thing that continues to hold them from just being really, really dominant is having a superb quarterback. Seriously, within the last, help me out. Who's been their straight up best quarterback? Absolutely dominant. I think that's honestly been one of the main reasons that they have struggled against Alabama. And I've said this openly, and I don't want to sugarcoat it. I feel that Gunnar Stockton is going to struggle against Alabama's defense. I just really do. So Jared Curtis flips from Georgia to Vanderbilt. Huge news. The Alabama Crimson Tide landed a prospect on Tuesday, one day ahead of early signing day, and that was Malik Franklin. 6'6", 252-pound defensive prospect out of Daphne, Alabama, right down there in L.A. He's a defensive lineman that now Alabama will sign 5 defensive linemen, okay? Nolan Wilson, Jameer Matthews, right? Khalil Johnson, and Corey Howard. So big class from the defensive line perspective. And, of course, we will go one by one with those guys on National Signing Day. Bama is also in play on signing day to get a big flip at the tackle position from Bryson Cooley. Bryson Cooley is currently committed to LSU. 6'6", 315 pounds. He's a tackle. Okay, that's got to make your ears perk up because you're like, yes, more offensive linemen, please. So watch for Bryson Cooley, who's been predicted to commit to Alabama. That flip could be happening at any point in time. Hopefully it happens on signing day. So kind of to recap today's schedule, all right, right here on Bama Football on YouTube, starting at 8 a.m., live preview of National Signing Day or any pieces of news that float around at the 8 a.m. hour. And then at the top of the hour. So at 9, I'll be live. 10, I'll be live. Have my regular scheduled 1-hour show, taking your calls. At 11, I'll be live with some more signing day updates all the way through 1 p.m. And then at 4 p.m., Coach Kalen DeBoer. So I think I have my schedule right here coming up, just so you could see it visually, all right? 8 a.m. all day long. We got you covered right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I hope that you've had a beautiful start to this wonderful day. Bama, Wake Up on Bama, a little bit shorter today, but still, I thought it was a good episode, right? So we got tons of coverage coming your way right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate y'all. I need some rest. I need to get focused, locked in for the gigantic day tomorrow right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Be safe if you're cruising on the road. If you're at the gym, do your work, get your workout in. And thanks for listening or watching to Wake Up Bama right here on Bama Football on YouTube. See you, fam.